Ford Mustangs here. Seeing Keith Haney go out and lay down a respectable lap. First car out on the racetrack. Here in Schweitzer Dynamics Pro Nitrous Qualifying. Did a little testing yesterday. Ricky is staying pretty busy. Not only behind the wheel of this race car, but doing a lot of tuning. Flying back and forth across the country. Smith is in. Lights are down. Here we go. Dane goes towards the center line, makes a hard move, and has to take his foot off the gas pedal. 368. Ricky Smith laying down a lap. 204 miles an hour for the Parkway Ford entry. Dane's going to be 428, 127, but Dane Wood's car, just before half track, made a violent move to the center. So you can grab a handful of wheel and bring that race car back. So you go back on the FloRacing instant replay. Dane's car, front end hiked in the air, started going a little bit of tire shake, and when he dropped the front end down, and just a few feet away from the center line stripe. Four next pairs in the burnout box. Cam Clark, builder out of North Carolina. A lot of circle track stuff in the engine world. Done extensive testing before coming into race number 2 of the Redline Oil PDRA Drag Racing Series. I'd say behind the wheel, Cam is very confident right now, knowing what the car has done since race number 1. Came off the trailer, went 373. Derek Ford over there on the right-hand side. That silver Camaro. Derek's car goes out and chatters the tires, and there goes, or I should say Cam's car goes out and chatters the tires. Derek, 368. 202 miles an hour for him. Clean run down the atomizer side of the racetrack. Cam Clark goes through at 542. Now, yesterday during testing, Jay Cox actually jumped back behind the wheel for a couple runs in Marcus Butner's Camaro. Over here on the left-hand side, Buddy Perkinson. Car has been running consistent. Seen it at Galat in testing here yesterday. And they are slowly creeping up with that car to go in the 60s. Chatters the tires, Buddy pedals it. Gets to recover 398, 197, and look at the reaction time. Buddy's 003. Kid is absolutely the killer on the starting line. Butner's going to go 369.7, 204 miles an hour. That's going to put Marcus Butner number 3 right now. Ricky's still at the top of the qualifying order by 0.003 of a second over Derek Ford, who had a stout run. But Buddy's car was aggressive early on. You see a whole lot of wheel speed. Started to chatter just a little bit. He caught it. Got the car to settle back down and back in the gas once again. Right now, Billy Albert, Chris Reaney on the starting line. Billy not only doing the driving duties of that 69 Camaro out of Whitville, the Summit side, tuning Chevy Floyd's Pro 632 combination weekend. That's a good story we'll talk a little more about as the day goes on. Oh, look at this side-by-side run. Finish line stripe they go. Chris Reaney, 371 with a 4, 202 miles an hour, 373, 200 the speed at a Billy Albert's machine there on the left-hand side, and they're going to be number 5 and 6 right now in Schweitzer Dynamics Pro Nitrous Qualifying. 9 drivers have been down the track so far. 2 more is coming into the water box next. One of the most winningest driver in Pro Nitrous history. And, Jim knew each year that everybody was chasing him. You know, you have the biggest target on your back, and he handled the pressure very well. Tommy Franklin was in the hunt, and all the stars aligned for him and his wife and their team last year. Hometown event this weekend at Virginia Motorsports Park for Tommy. Third one at Franklin Electric and SmartCom Home Technologies. Watching the Moss Man do his thing. When you think back just 2 short weeks ago, neither one of these world champs had the start of the season like they wanted to. So struggled there. Absolutely. So Tommy Franklin's in. Jim Halsey's ready to go. They turn it green. Oh, Halsey's car goes towards the wall a bit, and it's 365.6, 204 miles an hour. There's low ET, top speed, and a new #1 qualifier here in Schweitzer Dynamics Pro Nitrous today. By 0.03 of a second, Tommy Franklin will assume the #1 qualifying spot for now. Jim's going to coast on down, 4:15, 1:34. He stayed right alongside of Tommy Franklin just until about half track. The Daddy Shark Camaro is moving hard to the left side of the racetrack. See, it's not able to steer that race car due to the fact it was riding hard in the wheelie bar. And when it was bringing in that horsepower, the car just started pushing right over there, left-hand side of the groove. Yeah, we had a lot of talk about that, and to see two Robert Hayes cars in the final round of the first race of the season was huge. And Brian Schrader worked so hard to park that thing in the winner's circle like he did. Start off this season on a high note. Hopefully bring some momentum in here to Virginia Motorsports Park this weekend. Tommy laid down a good lap, 365.6 at over 204 miles an hour. Kind of sets the mark for Schrader and Scriba. New race car over there on the right side for Freddie. And there was no new car blues at Galot Motorsports Park for that guy. Final pair here in Q1. Schweitzer Dynamics Pro Nitrous on the starting line. Goes out and shatters the tires. That's going to be Brian Schrader, 371.6, 202 the speed for Freddie Scriba. Over there in the atomizer lane, 568 at only 84 miles an hour for Brian. So that is going to put Freddie to #7. We'll look over the top half of the field right now. Tommy Franklin, 365.6, your #1 qualifier. Ricky Smith's 2, Derek Ford is 3. And the screen changed. Go right into Pro Boost. There is. It was a thought that counts. I had good intentions. Yeah. That's usually how the story of my life goes, right? I knew it was coming, but. Wasn't able to catch all those runs. That was a late arrival. I was on time today, don't worry.
So Tommy Gray looked really good here testing yesterday, but that was totally different. All day long. The weather conditions.
Yeah, did a 180-degree turn. Yep.
Tommy Gray has set up a new machine. Still 8 speed like he did yesterday here testing.
Pro Street, we need you to the staging lanes, please. Attention to the pits. Pro Street, this is the call for you to the staging lanes. Pro Street. So the Churchview Farm, Tie Drive, Undertaker Corvette. Here on the starting line, kicking things off in our Pro Boost category. Tommy Gray on a single run. Is out there and starts to shatter the tires a little down low. 585. Silently coasting down the summit side for Tommy Gray.
All right, our next pair pulling through the water box, Rodejan Basato on the left-hand side, the Fuel Tech 2022 Camaro. Rodejan from Brazil making the long haul award. And Jeff Rudolph, and we watched this on social media yesterday. Man, what a time he's had here at B&P. Jeff from Brownsburg, Indiana, the Ghetto Sleigh 69 Camaro. For Proline, Pro Charger, Fuel Tech, M&M, and Sailor Jerry.
So Jeff Rudolph made the trip from Indiana. They pulled in the gate, unloaded, thought they were going to test yesterday, and they worked on that car from sun up to sundown. Tore it down 3 separate times.
They had the heads off of it 3 times, put new pistons in it, all sorts of things going on over in the Rudolph pit area.
Still not sure exactly what was wrong with the car that was plaguing them, but they feel that they have it fixed. It's ready to go into qualifying today, so this is going to be Jeff Rudolph's first attempt at the racetrack right here in opening qualifying. The Ghetto Sleigh. Excavator. Jeff Rudolph being guided into the pre-stage beam. His crew will back away. Rodejan Basato waiting patiently. The red Chevy Camaro out of Fuel Tech. Rudolph's in. Lights are down. Oh, Jeff's on a run. Watch the atomizer side scoreboard. Look at that. 363.0, 208 miles an hour for Jeff Rudolph. The hard work has paid off. 367, 209 miles an hour for Rodejan Basato there on the summit side. But it's got to be all smiles and relief for Jeff Rudolph as an entire team down there.
And remember, he said, I'm not concerned. We're going to be okay. And here he is, no testing. 363.0.
And Rudolph does not have a lot of data here at Virginia Motorsports Park. Guy that does not make every PDRA national event. Good to see him in the house. And kicking qualifying off the way he did. Good side-by-side drag race out of both of those teams.
And 2 more first-timers to the 2024 PDRA Tour. Jason Lee, left side of the racetrack out of Vernon, California. The Coast Packing Company 2020 Camaro. PTP Racing, Lions Custom Motorsports, Haltech, Noonan. The Lard Machine backs up here left side. And Marcus Berg out of Gray, Georgia, the Axeman 2024 Camaro owned by Tommy Yeomans. Proline Racing, Pro Charger, Fuel Tech, M&M transmission, Hoosier tire on board that machine backing up right side. Great to see both these hot rods out here on the PDRA Tour. Pro Boost absolutely stacked here this weekend.
Well, you've seen Rudolph lay down the 63 number. Marcus Berg, Jason Lee, 2 top-tier teams. Jason, we're so used to seeing with that first-gen white Packing Company Camaro. Now he's brought up the 2020 body style.
This is actually Federo's old World car. Championship car. So, good piece he's sitting in.
Marcus. The Axeman out of Gray, Georgia. Pro Line machine. Patrick Barnhill doing the tuning for Jason Lee at a PDRA Racing. Oh, good drag race here. Shoots out just a little early, it looked like, for Marcus. 372 at 198. 363, Jason Lee. 207.59 the speed. And Rudolph still holds on to the top spot due to the fact he went 208.26 miles an hour. So 2 363.0 elapsed times. We have just seen in back-to-back runs.
So next up, Johnny Camp, the Hells Bells 1969 Camaro for NGK Spark Plugs. Camp Brothers Concrete, Pro Line, Pro Charger, Fuel Tech. Tatman Electric Company. First time Johnny's been on tour with us here on the 2024 season. Great to see him back. Johnny's been known to shoot for that #1 qualifier position. He has a rocket ship. Brandon Stroud, crew chief in that machine.
Yeah, honestly, I was pretty surprised not to see Johnny at the first race of the year. I believe he was out earlier on. Another race down south there that he made the Series of Pro Mod, I believe, and it's race #1. Hells Bells Camaro. On that single run. Always contender for the top qualifying spot. One of the Pro Line powered machines in the category.
Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock, presented by AED Competition. We need you. Pro Stock, we need you for Q1. But Johnny Camp starts to ease into the bulbs, and here we go.
Oh, Johnny rolls the beam and will not get an elapsed time. Left before the tree activated. Potentially some type of a mechanical failure. Did not hold the car there. And he is going to just motor on down to the top of the racetrack. Not a way to start off qualifying. Frustration in the Johnny Camp pit area, I am sure. As we talked about, another one of those top-tier teams in a car that definitely has potential to be #1 qualifier. Not seeing the outing they were hoping for here to start the day off.
Bubba Green next up on the left-hand side at a Greer, South Carolina 2019 Corvette, tuned by the world legend, Scotty Cannon. You see him in the hat behind the car, going to help back it up. Chuck Alsh on the right-hand side, the Roche Racing 68 Camaro for HFR Fabrication, Churchview Farms, Redline Oil, and NGK Spark Plugs. If you think back to our race in the lot, he was not in the program.
No.
Okay.
Full send, though.
Knew he had to do what he had to do to get in. Goes out in about 60 foot, the right-hand door, said, "See you later." And he motored on down through there. That wasn't going to affect his run. No, sir.
And if he would have lifted, he would have made the show.
He would not have made the show.
That was
Absolutely.
the only thing that got him into the race, was the fact that Chuck Alsh went full send out there and shove that Camaro into the ultra competitive Pro Boost field. Only one door. Bubba Green, I know you mentioned yesterday, the car was running pretty well in testing.
I think career best numbers for that team. I'm interested to see here if they can go A to B on this trip.
And I'm thinking, I mean, you have career best numbers when it's 88 degrees out, sun's on the racetrack, hot track temperatures. Things can only get better for them. Cloud cover and nice cool weather today.
Chuck Walsh on the right-hand side, Bubba Green left. The legend, Scotty Tannen, helping Bubba Green out. I believe they were related somehow. Like a cousin.
I think this is the second, third year that they have campaigned this car. Good run out of both, and Bubba ended up lifting out there. How about Chuck Walsh? 3.618. 208 miles an hour on the atomizer side of the racetrack, and say hello to your new number one qualifier. By 200ths of a second, bumps Jeff Rudolph down to number 2, Jason Lee to number 3, and Rodejan Basada number 4. But Chuck Walsh, man, another car that's really happy rolling in here to Virginia this weekend. And those are big numbers.
Yeah, he tested well here yesterday. You watch on the Flow replay.
Bubba's car looked a little slow out of the gate. As you've seen, Chuck had good numbers down low, and Bubba was clicking it off before the half-track mark.
Two teams up next that did not have the opening race that they were looking for. Travis Harvey, left side of the racetrack. The Carolina Kid in the 2017 Camaro, owned by Holland and Mills. Miles and Holland, my bad. Miles Truck Service, Proline Racing, Fuel Tech, Carolina Kid Motorsports, and Holland Enterprises. And Camaro, Joe Albright on the right-hand side. The Fletcher Cox owned 1969 Camaro for Shady Trail Ranch. LAT Racing Oil, the Soma power plant between the frame rails of this machine. Showfield Performance, Marchetti Trucking, and PTP Racing. Fletcher now has more time to devote to his race team. Retired from football.
Very laid-back guy, and he kind of found his niche over here in the PDRA. Really devoted. Have a great race team.
Travis Harvey, you can never say enough about him, man. Always a known leader in the category. Normally at the top end of the field, but he struggled a little bit at Goliath.
Yeah, and I was honestly surprised to see crew struggle like they did down there. And I'm sure they've done some testing yesterday, and Travis comes into qualifying here Q1. That 2017 bodied Camaro. On the left-hand side. Watch the reaction time for Travis. Always a lever. 001. Near perfect reaction. And how about 362? Making it look easy out there. 219 miles an hour for Travis Harvey this afternoon. 522. The elapsed time for Joe Albright. On the right side of the racetrack. Coasting on down there. Travis came close. Number one qualifying spot that Chuck Walsh currently holds at 361.8. We talk about confidence boosters, and that's one, I think, for Travis and his team. You see a good performance here in Q1.
Kenny Lang next up, left side. Al Billis Racing, 1969 Camaro for NGK. VP Race Fuels and Miller Welders. And William Brown III on the right-hand side out of Chesapeake, Virginia. The Blue Magic 2.0 69 Camaro out of Brown Motorsports. Proline Racing. M&M Transmissions, LAT Racing Oil, Cruiser Tire, and YO Motorsports on board his machine.
Kenny Lang, first shot at the racetrack this weekend, did not test yesterday. you gotta think back when we were at Galat. Lang struggled in the fact that they kept on backfiring the supercharger, and that happened, I believe, 2 to 3 times down there. Hal Billis, Kenny, their team on the left side. Let's see if they can go A to B, get the car solidly in the show. William Brown, Chesapeake. Town event for him. State of Virginia. Kenny Lang to the top of the racetrack. How about 362.3? Good run for him. 208 miles an hour. Hats off. 363.208 as well for Brown. That's going to put Kenny Lang right to number 2.
Yeah, awesome. That's kind of crazy, Derek. 362.3 gets you number 2.
Yeah.
363.3 gets you number 6. And there's still some heavy hitters coming out of them.
So
here,
the top 6 drivers are separated by less than 15 thousandths of a second. Pretty impressive. You're in Pro Boost.
That was a great looking side-by-side battle. And hats off to William Brown and the crew, man. They've really made some big strides in that program.
Absolutely, they have. And for Kenny Lang to come right off the trailer and lay down a lap like that. But, you got to think back. Obviously, Jeff Rudolph did the same. Tracks there, the cars are running good, great weather that we have, and all the stars kind of aligned. That's what you get. Good, clean runs.
And our next pair pretty much out of the same camp. Randy Weatherford, left side of the racetrack out of Danville, Virginia, the WS Construction 2020 Camaro. Proline Racing, Pro Charger, Fuel Tech, and M&M transmission on board his machine. And Scott Lang on the right-hand side out of Charlotte, North Carolina, the Equalizer 2018 Camaro for AML Motorsports. KA13, Keenan Allen from the NFL sponsoring that machine. Scott is Keenan's uncle. Proline, Pro Charger, Fuel Tech, Carmack Engineering, and M&M Transmission. Randy Weatherford's old car lines up alongside him. Remember, Derek, last season, Scott Lang went on a tear. We didn't know much about him. He bust onto the Pro Boost scene and then goes back-to-back wins on tour. Pretty impressive feat.
And as you talked about, 2 cars that are pretty much identical. It was Randy's backup car, whatever that he bought, and bought a turnkey operation. And I'm sure they've done their own work to it, trying to get their own deal over there, but it's ran very well. We have seen cars lay down impressive numbers here in the opening round of qualifying. Would not be surprised if Randy and Scott are 1 and 2 right here. Watch the scoreboard. 362.9 for Randy Weatherford on the Summit side. Quicker out of the pair, 207 miles an hour. But look at Scott Lang in the speed. 364.9, 216.69 the speed for him. That's going to put Scott number 8, Randy to number 4. And that's still not top speed to the fact that Travis Harvey, nearly 220 miles an hour.
Yeah, and look at that, Derek. The top 8, the top half of the field so far, and still quite a few cars left to qualify. You have to go quicker than a 364.9 to get into the top half of the field. This is insane. And a guy and a gal that can do it right here up next. Kind of out of the same camp as well. Melanie Salemi, left side of the racetrack. 2023 Camaro for G-Force Race Cars, Ollie Installation, Liberty's Gears, Quick Drive, Ross, NGK, MSR, and Resolution Racing Services. And Steve King, the Savage 2022 Corvette on the right-hand side. The Jeff Miller Performance. Resolution Racing Services, G-Force built that machine as well. MSR Performance, Pilot Electric. Gene Pilot, the car owner on the right-hand side. Eddie Whelan owns Melanie Salemi's ride. Mike Stewicki horsepower for Melanie. Steve King made the decision to run the PDRA Tour this season. That hot rod looked good down at Galat. If someone's shooting for the 50s, I guarantee it's one of these 2 machines right here.
Well, we know how violent Melanie's car is down low. The fastest, or in the category, the speed of the run.
Talking on 60-foot times yesterday in testing, John Campu on unfortunately rolled through the beams. It was 9:08 down low yesterday. So definitely people shooting for that 50.
Yeah, that's Melanie Salemi numbers
Yeah,
right
right.
there, you know. Welcome to her neck of the woods. So, Salemi, King, starting line right now. Baron Corvette. Battle between the bow ties. Cars that are set up very similar, as Scotty was talking about.
King has spoke to him a lot, and that's kind of getting all his information from John Salemi in that group. So here we go.
Good numbers down low. It's going to be 360 with a 3, 208 miles an hour for Melanie, 364, 206 for Steve King. He was trailing all the way down the 660-foot race course, and we have seen a new #1 qualifier in the category. Young lady Melanie Salemi rockets to the top here in Pro Boost qualifying, and bumps Chuck Hulsh down to #2, Kenny Lang's 3, Travis Harvey's 4, and Randy Weatherford's #5 right now. Low ET, 3.603 for Melanie.
And again, Derek, now if you want to be in the top half of the field, you need to go at 363 or better. So that'll bring out Kurt Stedding and Spencer Hyde. Spencer on the right-hand side from Stratford, Ontario, Canada. The Jack in the Green stock 1969 Camaro for Redline Oil and GK. Hyde Construction, Noonan Race Engineering, and Hellbilly Race Cars.
Well, just wanted to touch way back and watch the instant replay off of FloRacing. That was one of the, I believe, one of the smoothest and cleanest runs that I've seen Melanie's car make. The car didn't even quiver the tire. It was straight, stuck in the center of the racetrack. It set the front end down perfectly.
And to your point, you know, we talked about the low 60-foot times. She backed it off on 60-foot that time. Only went like a 934 down low.
And that is slow for that car.
So left side of the racetrack, Kurt Stedding out of Carnegie, Pennsylvania. The P2 Contracting, P2 Racing 69 Camaro for YO Motorsports, Tie Drive NGK, and Robert Abbott Oranges. This is a new machine for Stedding this season, and it's looked good already. Of course, Spencer Hyde, you know, won the inaugural World Series of Pro Mod in that machine. So
a little match race at Galat there, and he ran right alongside Derek Ward. We've already seen big numbers out of Spencer's car earlier in the season.
So 60 is now the spot to take over #1. Got to go into the 50s. Let's see if it happens here.
Spencer's on a run. Watch Jack of the Green Stock Camaro. There it is, your new #1 qualifier. And it's going to Canada, 359.0, 213 the speed. Kurt's going to be right behind him at 362.4, 208.30 the numbers. But Spencer Hyde, the first driver to go into the 50s here in the opening round of qualifying, and that #1 qualifying spot for Melanie only held for, well, a matter of a minute or two. But Spencer Hyde lays down a number, and I'm telling you, I don't know what they found, but here in 2024, that car is really happy, and it's producing some big horsepower.
All right, here we go. Preston Tanner, Derek Ward. Tanner on the right-hand side. The Sweetheart 2015 Corvette out of Rinsler, Indiana for Talbot Manufacturing, A.J. Winton's son, Strange Engineering, and Manhattan Collision Center. And Preston had a weekend he'd like to forget at Galat.
Oh, man.
Made it to the semifinals, but, man, did he have
They about
catastrophic
went through the parts
failure.
cabinet.
Yeah,
I can tell you that. There was
they were borrowing parts.
Zero parts were left in the Preston Tanner camp over there.
And here on the left-hand side, your current world record holder in the category, Derek Ward out of Friendship, Maryland, the 68 Firebird for Resolution Racing Services, G-Force Race Cars, and MSR Performance. We'd like to welcome Series Director Tyler Crossnow to the mic.
What's up, fellas?
Yeah,
Thought y'all needed a little bit of help over here. You know, Pro Boost is raining 360. You know, if you want, so I figured I'd come over here and join in. Sadly, looks like we're all going to get one on this one. Preston Tanner is back off the right lane. All eyes go to the 2024 Drag Illustrated World Series Pro Mod.
Derek Ward here left side will be on a single run as Preston Tanner's backed off the starting line. Not certain what went wrong with that machine, but they'll get it fixed up and ready to go for Q2.
So Derek Ward, what after Spencer High, they had a match race. Fastest car in the category. Turns on the stage bulb. Here we go. Oh, this car's on a run. 3:59.3, 209 miles an hour for Derek Ward. And he is going to fall up short of the #1 qualifying spot by 0.03 of a second. Spencer Hyde is going to be your #1 qualifier for right now. But you look back there underneath the tunnel, and here, who do we have? Todd Tutterow, Jason Harris coming out.
Woo! PDRA Pro 632, we need you. PDRA Pro 632, we need you for Q1. And Derek, you said it, man. What? This is an awesome matchup right here. World Championships, I couldn't even count how many between these two drivers. Our season opener winner, Todd Tutterow, left side of the racetrack. King Tut out of Yadkinville, North Carolina. The Justin Smith-owned Quick Drive, Tie Drive, YO Motorsports Extreme Oil, NGK Spark Plug 69 Camaro. And Jason Harris, your reigning world champion out of Pittsboro, North Carolina. The Party Time 69 Camaro for Southern Diamond Company. SP Tools, Hoosier Tire, Pro Charger, Proline, Braille, LAT. And we talked about it on PDRA Live, as I'm sure you listened to, Derek. It is not often that you see Jason Harris lose on a hole shot. Almost never.
No, and Jason, we were harping on it so heavy down at Galot. His reaction times were killer. And one round he flipped up, and he needed that good reaction time that he normally cuts, and it cost him the race. And you know that as a driver, it beats you up. It's on your mind that, and I let him down. I went up there and did not do my job in the starting line. So sure that kind of got into Jason's thought process a little bit rolling into Virginia this weekend, and he won't let that happen. Because you're talking about a guy that's extremely hungry to get to the winner's circle and having new sponsors on board. Jason Harris going to be after it here at BMP.
So 3:59.0, the spot to take over to get to the #1 spot, I should say.
Two cars that are very capable of doing it. Todd Tutterow moves out, and 3:65, 2:09 there on the left-hand side. Jason's going to go 3:61.2. Quicker out of the pair at 2:07.88. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to give you the qualifying order again.
Hopefully Flo has that capability to put it on the screen.
We exit out of our computer system prematurely. But watch Todd's car. Pushes over there towards the center line a little bit, and Todd's obviously really comfortable behind the wheel of these race cars, so there was no reason to lift for him. Felt good about the run still. The car was dancing around just a little bit there. Jason was right in the center of the racetrack all the way down 660-foot cone.
So now I guess we're going to make the jump over to Menser Motorsports Pro Street, presented by AFCO Racing. First machine out onto the racing surface, Tommy Morrow. Out of New Egypt, New Jersey, the El Toro 1992 Camaro. Extreme Race Engines, Chance Race Converters, Atomizer, Menser Motorsports, Motec, and M&M Transmission. On board this machine.
Look at that car. Wow, 409, 203 miles an hour. Talking about back half.
Yeah, that thing got up and went.
116 down low, and then it was just like a rocket ship out the other end.
So, for pancake.
Crowd favorite here, left side of the racetrack, Chris Cadotto out of Westland, Michigan. The Weather Guard Windows 1997 Ram truck they call the Brick. Mark Herrick engines. And Brian Weedle on the right-hand side, or Waddell. 187 graphics, 68 Camaro. Extreme Race engine, Pro Torque, and 1320 Fab on board that machine. First time for both of these hot rods on tour in the 2024 season. There's 17 of these machines on the ground trying to qualify for the 16-car field.
It's one of the quickest, fastest growing classes here in PDRA and Mincer Motorsports Pro Street, presented by APCO Racing.
They do it all on a 10.5 tire. And Chris Cadotto in the Brick, like I said, crowd favorite, an event winner here on the PDRA Tour in seasons past.
Anytime you could bring a big old body pickup truck like that and run at the top of the ultra competitive class of Pro Street, it really says something and gains a lot of attention. Brian Weddle's car. Weddle's 187 graphic, first gen Camaro. Oh, Cadotto doing some driving out there. Look at the numbers. 399, 194 for Brian. Chris Cadotto's going to go 4.000. 193 the speed. They are great side-by-side drag race in Mincer Motorsports Pro Street. That's what it's all about. Parity in the class is like no other. 9,000ths of a second separated those two machines. And man, if you love Camaros, this is a matchup that you don't want to miss.
Yeah, two of the most stunning machines on
which
the
one
ground.
do you pick as your favorite? I mean, you can't even, they're absolutely
I think
gorgeous.
you got to go to the point of what's your favorite color at that point, you know. Randy Lambert, left side out of Amosville, Virginia. The Precision Turbo 69 Camaro for Fire Core Wires. Mauro Caringi on the right-hand side. 68 Camaro. So 68, okay, we can do it like this. Do you like a 68 Camaro better or a 69 Camaro better? Because both of these things are just absolutely immaculate.
Yeah, Randy Lambert, this is his second season behind the wheel with that car, debuted it last year. Pretty sure. And Caringi, she comes back to the starting line. Inside the race car on the Flow live feed.
I mean, the first three cars. That's why everybody loves this category, man. It's stacked and fast.
Early on into the session, you already got one of them going into the threes. Cadotto was just one foul away. You see Dwayne Lang waving Renji Ford. Mauro's in, Randy's set. Hanging the front end of the air. Oh, hold on, Randy Lambert. Oh, man, did that car get crossed up down to the other end of the racetrack. Woo! Randy Lambert, 4.039, 199 the speed. Did a little driving out there. Renji had, and look at 359.207. That can't be right.
No, Lambert knocked out
That's what I was wondering. It got a cone
down there.
Yeah, you see it. So we'll go ahead and replace a cone. Back and watch the instant replay on that. And I believe that is going to unofficially disqualify Randy Lambert's run. That run most likely not count due to the fact that he got a timing block.
So, as Derek said, we will have to go out on the racing surface with some equipment to clean up the foam blocks down at the finish line area. And you can see they're on flow. They're scattered all over the place. That thing was on the wheelie bars riding hard, just pushing a little bit to the right, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, it was when he got the front end to sit down. Randy Lambert's Camaro was riding that center line stripe. He's tried to stay with it as long as he possibly could and didn't make a big move. You've seen the car turn a little bit sideways. We're grabbing some foam blocks off the surface there.
Chris Hardy, left side of the racetrack out of Bennettsville, South Carolina, the Savage 2001 Camaro for Hardy Enterprises. Pondy's Performance. Jerry Morgano on the right-hand side, the Copperhead Mustang. For Ameriprise Financial, DeSoma Race Engines, Bullseye Turbo, Mincer Motorsports, Atomizer, Visner Engine Development, you name it. Fuel Tech, all on that machine on the right side.
Chris Hardy, Jerry Magano. Think back to that last pair. Both of those runs are not going to count due to the fact that Taylor got the cones. The other car was behind him. So let's look at the bottom bulb for Chris Hardy. Hardy's Camaro, 451.76. Jerry Magano's having some issues, coasting on down at 654. Mustang on the right side.
Richard Reagan out of Rutledge, Tennessee, the 1990 Mustang. Next up on the right-hand side.
So Richard Reagan's Mustang. Blown Hemi. Comes to the starting line. Tennessee-based team. Some testing here yesterday. I go quicker than 399.1 to be your number one qualifier. Reagan's in. Car gets after it, dances around a little down low, and there's your new number one qualifier. How about 396 with an 8, 199 the speed by 3/100ths of a second. Richard Reagan bumps Brian Weddle down to the number 2 spot here in Pro Street qualifying.
So here comes your reigning world champion, left side of the racetrack, Bill Riddle out of Howell, Michigan. The Corrigan Race Fuels 89 Camaro for B&L Services, Mickey Thompson Tires, Motorsports Unlimited, SSI Superchargers, Redline Oil. And Bill Devine on the right-hand side out of Muskegon, Michigan. The Bullseye Power 2001 Mustang for Fuel Tech, Mickey Thompson, Fire Core, Maxima, Borowski Race Engines, Liberty's Gears, VP Race Fuels, and Strange Engineering.
Builds up a little heat and cleans it out. Bill Riddle approaches the starting line. Summit side. And Bill Devine, he's got the horsepower. They're trying to just get that chassis to cooperate. And Mark Mincer came on board and doing some tuning adjustments with suspension-wise, shock adjustments, and I think they are starting to go in the right direction. Michigan versus Michigan. There it is. Look at that. 404, 189 miles an hour for Bill Riddle, and Bill Devine lays down a 414, 184. And that's one of the strongest runs that I have seen Bill Devine make. It could potentially be your career best numbers there. Stout
Absolutely.
Run. And when I talked about a step in the right direction, I love to see that. Confidence booster for them, for sure. Here today.
Here comes. Are you watching the replay?
And I think that another thing you got to take into consideration is the fact that Bill Devine is running a clutch car. So you see the car when it leaves the starting line, it had some movement in it, and they are trying to get that ironed out in the first 60 feet of the run. And Mark Mincer was explaining to me, he said it's kind of tricky to work with one of these clutch cars and doing what he wants to do with it, when especially everybody else is running an automatic transmission. So a different combination, and they're kind of playing catch up to everybody right now. But
Obviously
you're
making big strides. See
some good things coming out of Bill Devine's Mustang.
So here comes Joel Winsley Jr. on the right-hand side out of Dearborn, Michigan, the Pro Charger Liberty's Gears 2014 Camaro. And Ethan Stedding, the rookie in the category, the College Fund 2024 Camaro for P2 Racing. Ethan has looked extremely good behind the wheel of this P2 machine left side.
Two really good race cars on the starting line here. Winsley Jr., Ethan Stedding. Ethan, the youngest driver in the category. 16 years old, driving a 3-second Camaro. Been high 390s. Great run out of both race cars. 403.4, 194 the speed for Stedding. And Joel Winsley is going to go 405 with a 7 at 195 there. Good way to kick off qualifying in Mincer Motorsports Pro Street for both of those teams. Solid efforts.
Yeah, you have to go at least a 4.0 something to get into the top half of the top 9 of the field. So,
and I know I've said it so many times before, but parity in this class is really starting to show. That's what it's all about.
Dan Norris, left side of the racetrack. Honda's Performance 22 Mustang, Mincer Motorsports, Noonan Race Engineering, Fuel Tech, M&M, SSI on board that machine. And Ron Green on the right-hand side, the Game Changer 2000 Firebird. Green Brothers Racing, Quick Fuel, DeSoma Race Engines, Pro Charger, Atomizer, Noonan Race Engineering. Ron came out and was a #1 qualifier at our season opener at Galat. Side by side, they go to the top end. Norris gets there first. 4:02 with a 4 at 188 miles an hour. Ron Green, 4:10 at 180 for that machine, but put Dan Norris up to the #5 qualified position. Ron Green, #11. Now the top 10 cars all at a 4:09 or quicker. So past world champion, left side of the racetrack, Tim Essick out of Port Tobacco, Maryland. The Brown Sugar 2018 Mustang for Pro Charger and Essick Motorsports. And the man that is undefeated in the category. Right side of the racetrack out of Thornhill, Tennessee. The Clinch Mountain Transport 69 Camaro, Scott Kincaid.
Well, and the thing, you look at the top half of the field, and not just one car is truly dominating this class now. It's there's so much parity and great cars and teams that have emerged here in Mincer Motorsports Pro Street. and an even playing field. We're seeing just stellar runs.
Now, we did say Kincaid is undefeated. He's been in 5 events, won every single one of them, but at our last event, he only qualified 9th. So, it's not like he's had the fastest car every time.
Correct. There are 2 guys that have battled out numerous times. Tim Essex, Scott Kincaid. That's okay. A longer run in the category, per se, than Scott has been. Look at the numbers there early on at half track, and 3:96.9. Scott Kincaid, 194 miles an hour in the Camaro. And Tim Essex going to go 399 and 188 the speed for the Pro Charged Ford. So Kincaid's number 2, Essex number 3, and we will roll into Lift the Gears Extreme Pro Stock. Richard Reagan held on to the top qualifying spot by 1/1000 of a second. So the burnout is complete for Jeremy Huffman, Lester Cooper. They are trying to get the front end. Zeus back on. Zeus fasters or something is not going in the way that they planned. And they are waving him to the burnout box. He was down to 30 seconds. So Cooper's left fender not exactly attached. Oh, it should be. So he's going to do a short burnout, and I'm going to assume that once he gets back to the starting line, they're going to try and make a last-ditch effort to get these Zeus fasteners in. So Jeremy Huffman, in the meantime, waiting back here at the starting line. Catawba, North Carolina, Cobalt, 3V Performance. There with the passenger door open, gets some air inside of the cockpit of that machine, and waiting for Lester Cooper's 830 cubic inch Ford. This is your opening pair in Liberty Gears Extreme Pro Stock, presented by AD Performance. Huffman's crew still eyeing Lester Cooper. They are setting the wheelie bar height. Dwayne and Kyle Lang approach their team, and it's time to go. We've waited long enough. Pre-stage bulbs are lit. Huffman makes the final move to the beams. Tree fires, and they're out in the way. Problems immediately for Lester Cooper. He shoves in the clutch pedal. 4:05.8, 178 miles an hour for Jeremy. And that is a good run. Got to be happy with that, as the car was running a lot longer than they intended it to. Lester Cooper coast on to the other end in a lapse time of 7:84. As they miss the setup, they'll go back to the drawing board, and then also trying to get that front fender to secure like it should.
Elijah Morton and Jordan Insulin pull up next. Jordan on the left-hand side. Out of Lakeland, Florida, the car they call Seabiscuit for Dark Horse Coffee Company, Golden Gate Hotel and Casino. Circa Las Vegas, AD Competition, Mincer Motorsports, all on board Insulin's machine. And Elijah Morton on the right-hand side out of Swansboro, North Carolina, the Double Trouble 2019 Mustang for Horizons East, Carolina Utilities, Carolina Marine Works. Allen Competition Engines, 830 cubic inches worth. Underneath the hood scoop for Elijah Morton on the right side. Elijah struggled at Galat pretty much all weekend. Came out yesterday to do some testing, struggled in the beginning of the day, but then finally got things turned around and made a good lap. So we'll see what he's got here in the opening round of qualifying.
So for Dark Horse Coffee, Jordan Insulin over here on the Summit side. This is Ford Mustang ready to go. Elijah Morton, a veteran here in Mountain Motor Pro Stock Racing. Good clean runs, another 4:05 appears on the top end scoreboard. This is for Elijah Morton, 177 miles an hour, 4:11, 177. Jordan Insulin was trailing down the 660-foot race course. So Elijah takes over the top spot for the time being by 0.06 of a second.
Next up, Dylan Voss, left side of the racetrack out of West Palm Beach, Florida. The Bad Banana 05 Cavalier, the Liqui Moly, Voss Racing Engines, and Voss Wheelie Bars. Doug Cottrell on the right-hand side out of Warsaw, Indiana. The 08 Cobalt had a rough day in testing yesterday. That thing went up in flames right here on the starting line. Got out safely. Took the car back to the pit area. Got the fire out, of course. Took the car back to the pit area. Fixed up everything that was burnt and broken up. Here he is for Q1.
How about Dylan and Doug? Their Chevys are out of the gate. They run through the gears. Doug Kittrell, atomizer side, 4:15. Quicker out of the two is going to be Dylan, though, 4.118, 177.16 in the numbers. So that is going to put Dylan Voss to number 4, Doug Kittrell to number 5 here at Extreme Pro Stock. Your next pair, rolling into the water box, Dave Hughes and Darrell Stewart. Going to kick things off. Burnouts will be underway here in just a moment. Look over there on the Summit side of the racetrack. And that is going to be the Chassis Engineering team. Call home in Florida. 820 cubic inch Camaro for Darrell. Guy that is switched back and forth between Pro 632 and Extreme Pro Stock. I believe they are going to finally call this home and really hone in on their setup. Of course, a longtime runner, Dave Hughes, for HRE Manifolds in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. 2018 bodied Camaro. David, 70 years old. Very competitive behind the wheel. couple 4:05 elapsed times early on in the session. Clayton Murphy out watching on. Daryl's guiding in the pre-stage beam. Stewart's in, staged and ready. Dave Hughes follows suit. Over there on the right-hand side, flash and go. Sachet down low at Daryl Stewart's car, 4:07.8, 177 miles an hour. To the quicker 4:06.4 for Dave Hughes at 178.52. I guarantee that little move that we've seen out of Daryl Stewart cost him any laps time. They go to number 3 and 4. A pretty solid number for Daryl, being one of the newcomers in the category. Super Street, you've been called to the staging lanes, please. Attention to the pits. Attention to the pits. Super Street, this is your call to staging. Super Street, Q1. Staging lanes at this time. Right now, Matt Giagrande, and Chris Powers, world champ for ATI Performance Products and Sonny's world-class racing engines. That is going to be driver over there on the right-hand side. The HVAC industry, CR Powers. Matt Giagrande for Enoch Love, the Love Machine. It's the horsepower out of John Kazi's shop. It's been into the winner's circle already here in 2024 down in Florida. So they've got a car that by far can compete in this category. So for Chris and his family, team, Samuel over there on the right side. Final preparations going into that car. All right, they start to bring up the RPMs. Matt Giagrande, the final movement of the stage beam, summit side. Good numbers down low. Chris Powers gets there at 4:06.5, 177 miles an hour, quicker out of the two. Giagrande is going to go 4:07, 177 the speed. So Chris slides to number 4. Matt Giagrande takes over the number 5 spot here in Extreme Pro Stock qualifying right now. 6 drivers are separated by less than 0.02 of a second. Latest race winner on tour, Johnny Placino and Steve Boone. Burnouts are underway.
Placino joined us on PDRA Live this week talking about his win. He has 7 trophies in his collection from Galot Motorsports Park.
Yeah, obviously we talked about there in that final round just how good Galot has been to Johnny Placino over the years. And did you guys, anybody hit on the fact that we talked about he was down on horsepower per se, not the fastest car in the category, but he did his job as a driver on the reaction time.
Yeah, no lever in the category. He definitely gets it done up on the starting line. And a lot of times you don't have to rely on the racetrack when that's your situation. You can leave him on the starting line. You don't have to be as fast as the guy next to you.
And that's exactly what got Johnny Placino the win down there.
100%.
The fact he was cutting better reaction times and everybody who was pulling up alongside him.
And Stephen Boone, great resurgence for that team. They've been struggling for a few years, but they have some championships under their belt. They came back out this season and make it to the final round at the opening event. Boone Motorsports on that 07 Cobalt for line-to-line coatings.
As you mentioned, rematch of the final round 2 weeks ago. Johnny left side, Steve right side. I believe that's the lanes they were in. In that final two. Johnny's dad walk away, stand behind the orange Ford there on the left side. Problems right off the starting line for Johnny. He shoves in the clutch and is out of power. And Steve Boone's going to go 4.065, 178 the speed. And look back at the reaction time. 065 for Boone, 002 for Johnny. Well, Kit was good on the starting line, but Chad with the tires. First couple feet of the run. So now we will roll out of Extreme Pro Stock and go into Pro 632. Good story right here coming up now.
Yeah, Chevy Floyd behind the wheel, the Jack Gaddy-owned Camaro here on the right-hand side. This car was in the final round at Galot with a different driver. This is Chevy's first time driving a nitrous entry. Chevy normally campaigns the Little Red Corvette. Blown top sportsman entry. Chevy had a past the finish line altercation at Farmington Dragway. Another competitor lost control of their car, hit Chevy, which in turn turned the Corvette that he was driving into the retaining wall. Chevy got a call from Jack Gaddy. Said, would you like to drive my 632 machine? Chevy jumped into action. Didn't have a crew. Had never driven a nitrous car before. Had been crew chiefing on Billy Albert's machine, Pro Nitrous machine, at these PDRA events. So he called Billy Albert up, said, would you like to be my crew chief? And he graciously accepted that job. So now he's tuning on this 632 machine.
Yeah, to see him, the smile on the kid's face, man. I mean, just he's excited. He appreciates it, the opportunity to get behind the wheel of this car. And look at him, honed in, 025 in the reaction time, 419, 168 miles an hour. And for never driving a nitrous car, Chevy Floyd's doing pretty dang good here in Q1. Had some testing yesterday, and not sure if anybody caught our conversation about that, but he said the first time I sat in the car was, well, Tuesday. Jack Gaddy got a port seat done for me and made a few minor adjustments, and we went at it. So 419.8, 168, the numbers to kick off qualifying here at Pro 632.
Our next pair completes their burnouts. Hank Hughes left side, Gary Hood on the right. Gary out of Severn, Maryland, the 63 split window Corvette. And Hank Hughes out of Orangeburg, South Carolina, left side of the racetrack for Mincer Motorsports and Late Model Performance, the 93 notchback Mustang.
All right, so we have a racer in need. Summit Racing Equipment parts call. If anybody on the grounds can help out Aaron Glasser. He is in need of a 5-inch bullhorn. His bullhorn is rather dented. Doesn't look very good. So if anybody can help out Aaron Glasser with a bullhorn, greatly appreciated. Hank Hughes, 447, 160 miles an hour on the left side. 440, Gary Hood, 158. With his 63 split window Corvette.
All right, having some issues down in the shutdown area, so we will be just a minute.
Got a little fire at the other end.
Yeah.
Getting a little hot down there on the shutdown, so we'll back up this pair. Jeff Melnick shut it off here on the starting line. Can't tell if that's Gary's or Hank's car down there. There is, in fact, some smoke rolling off of whatever car that is. So I believe that is Hank Hughes' car. I'm sure Jalen's going to jump on the scooter and head down there. But a minor fire, and Hank Hughes is out of the car.
We drive tech. We drive the industry. Going beyond the limits and advancing forward. A versatile all-in-one solution. We're here for you every step of the way. And that's why you see Fuel Tech everywhere.
Welded, pumps, regulators, filters, fueling champions.